classic sandwich, your tuna sandwich, but we're going to make it in a sustainable and healthy way. So this is a recipe for chickpea tuna. First of all, you're going to need some drained chickpeas. You can either boil the chickpeas up yourself, soak them, boil them up, and then drain them, or you can drain a tin. You can get tins of chickpeas now for around 30 pence. So this is an affordable food. We're going to squash those up. You can, if you've got a food processor, you could use a food processor for this, but it will give a very smooth mix, and I quite like the chunkiness. So the reason for doing chickpea tuna, this has given us a lot of fibre from the chickpeas. It's given us a lot of protein, which we might otherwise get from the tuna. And we know that sustainable fish stocks don't really exist. 40% of what fishermen catch is bycatch. So that means it doesn't end up as food, or it isn't managed into food products, be that pet foods or foods for human consumption. This is a really healthy alternative, but gives you that familiarity of the tuna. So squash the chickpeas up with your fork. And when they're all squashed, if you had a food processor, that would just whiz up in a couple of seconds. I don't mind little chunks in. It'll soften up as well the more ingredients you add. So you're just going to squash the chickpeas up with a fork. It'll take a couple of minutes just to grab all of the chickpeas, get them all involved. And then to that, you're going to add, for the fishy flavour, an ingredient called nori seaweed flakes. You can blitz, if you've got a food processor, you can blitz sheets of nori seaweed up into these fine flakes, or it does come in a packet. Now, it does seem quite expensive. It's normally around £2 for a very small packet, but you use only a small amount. It's very light. So about a tablespoon of nori seaweed flakes. And then the nutritional yeast, which classically is a cheesy flavour, but works really well in this, and it gives you that boost of vitamin B12, which is important when we're on a predominantly plant-based diet. This is some vegan mayonnaise. You could use a little bit of soya milk, would work as well, but this does give a bit of a creamy texture. And then we need some spring onion, which I like to soak in the apple cider vinegar. So trim the roots and the ends off, and slice them very finely. If you think about the tuna sandwich that you enjoyed, it might be one with onion, it might be one with sweet corn. You can adapt this recipe to whatever flavours suited your palate. You can make it into a sandwich. You can also use it as a pasta topping. It'll work really well if you just boil up some whole grain pasta and toss this through at the end. So pop this into, I'm just going to pop it into the bottom of my lemon juicer with 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And then I'm going to use the juice of a lemon. I always like to use the rind, the zest of the lemon as well, because it gives such a lovely flavour. You'll notice that as soon as you start zesting it, you'll get that lovely citrus flavour. Better to use an unwaxed lemon though, so it's nice and clean. And it doesn't make any impact on how much juice you can get out of the lemon. It just means you're just using more of the fruit. So to get all that zestiness in. This is going to be a tuna sandwich like no other. I've got a lemon squeezer, but if you don't have one, it's fine to just squeeze it over your hand and catch the pips. They are a little bit bitter. They're not harmful, they're just a bit bitter. And juice the whole lemon. You want about 1 to 2 tablespoons. I like things lemony, so this will be perfect. And then add that to your bowl of ingredients. What I find is the vinegar tends to take some of the sting out of the onion flavour if it's a bit bitter. And stir that all up. So we've got the mayonnaise, nutritional yeast, the nori seaweed flakes, lemon juice, vinegar, and spring onion. Now, I'm making this for someone who really loves sweet corn, the classic Chuna sweet corn. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sweet corn and a big pinch of black pepper. Don't worry about any mess. Then I'm going to layer up the bread. You can use any leaf with this to make the salad. It's nice with really finely sliced tomatoes. I've got some baby lettuce here, baby gem lettuce. Spinach leaves would work really well. Again, as with all things plant-based, when we're cooking, it's easy to taste and make sure that the flavours are correct and your balance is right. And it's really important to get that right. Because it's a wet ingredient, you don't need any extra fat on the bread. And if you wanted to make it oil-free and not use the mayonnaise, as I said, a little bit of milk would work just as well. So pile up your sandwich. You could take this to work separately in case the bread got wet, or line your bread with some leaves. Take a few salad leaves and I'm just going to shred those. And if you're trying to reduce your calorie intake, then you could omit the bread and simply serve the chickpea tuna in a little boat like this. And we can roll that up and enjoy that like that. Okay. There's plenty there for 3 portions of chickpea tuna. So I'm just going to taste this lovely sandwich. I love the flavour of the sea that you get from the nori seaweed flakes. And it's rich and creamy and it's a delicious sandwich.